All right, welcome to Arcane Assist, episode 10 of our battle reports here with commentary. I'm Tim, and I'm joined today with John.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Just got back off a little vacation post-wedding. I got married a couple weeks ago. Thanks. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I've been with my partner for like 12 years, but it still feels nice to kind of do that all officially and have a sweet party.
Now you have a ring on your hand.
It's true. It's true. It's still I'm still adjusting, but it feels good. So today we're doing another battle report. I'm playing Circle, which I've played a couple times before on the cast you've seen here, and John is playing his primary faction, Trollbloods. So we're gonna get into the lists a little bit here. So I'm playing Kaya the Moonhunter. That's Kaya2. She comes with her companion warbeast Laris. I've got a Feral Warpwolf, Ghetorix, 2 Pureblood Warpwolf heavies, a Wild Argus, Lanyssa Ryssyl, 2 units of Sentry Stones and Mannequins, and 2 Goblin Chefs. I really like this list. I feel like there's a lot of cool tech in it. The Gobber Chefs are solid solos for contesting, scoring on flags. They have backstab. They're actually better than I expected for one point. They can also throw some Mrs. Dash on a mannequin and have a Warpwolf not freak out as a result of it. So I guess in this list, my Warpwolves are vegetarian. Mannequins are amazing. They're one of my favorite things about Circle. 2 units of mannequins go in almost all of my lists. I don't like to say auto-include because there's a lot of different ways to play the game in a lot of different lists, but certainly for the strategy I play, they handle a lot of the infantry clearing that I would otherwise, have issues with. Laris grants Guard Dog to Kaya. She can channel through him. He's really fantastic. She has flank with a Warbeast, and using his Animus can teleport him back or to him. So she's got a lot of mobility, which is expected of a Circle caster. It's also Speed 7, Pathfinder, Reach, so she's got a pretty impressive threat range. On top of that, she has a couple of cool spells. Dogpile got a bit of an upgrade. It's now still cost 2, but it's range 12. It gives free charges against the model that's hit by it. It's an offensive upkeep, so you have to hit an enemy model, but you can keep it up from turn to turn. It grants Warbeasts that are charging that model Pathfinder, plus 2 inches of movement, and the ability to ignore clouds and forests. So she's got a lot of non-linear threat projection, which is one of the things I really like about her. She also has Forced Evolution, which is plus 2 strength and defense. And she has Shadow Pack, which is a really cool spell. Another spell that she has that I feel is really powerful and clutch in some matchups is Muzzle. I feel like often you have to choose between Shadow Pack or Muzzle, which I'll get into in a second, but Muzzle, if you damage a Warbeast with it, you get to force them to not advance toward Kaya, which is really powerful because it can dictate a lot of positioning on the board. And Shadow Pack. So Shadow Pack changed a bit. It got kind of the same treatment as Kruger the Stormlord's Stormwall. It's now a 3-cost spell, not an upkeep, and it grants your battle group stealth, which is a very, very powerful effect, especially given that despite what people might say, there's a lot less that ignores stealth in this edition of the game. And she has to cast it every turn if she wants to keep that effect in play. So it's very good. It can't be purified because it's not an upkeep anymore, and it can't be chastened away or repudiated off, which is relevant in this matchup. But she has some pretty powerful tools against gun lines. So I like her a lot. I can protect a lot of this army. She definitely feels like that kind of very, very powerful glass hammer. You hit really hard, sometimes with 2 alpha strikes, but then your pieces are quite fragile and you need a lot of them to work well. So I like it. It's a fun list. And I've played it maybe 6 times now. John, why don't you tell us about what you brought?
Today I brought Doomshaper3. He's accompanied with GK and a Mountain King, a Pyre Troll for the Battlegroup, Max Stones with the Elder, 1 unit of Fire Eaters, and Alten Ashley. So in this list, Doomshaper3 has Hyper Regeneration from Mark II, still carried it over. Main thing that changed from him is his feat. He still grants the D3 healing, but it's D3 plus 3 now in Mark III.
Yep.
Which is better.
It is, for sure.
You're healing 2 no matter what.
Yep. Well, 4 no matter what.
Yeah, D3 plus 3. Yeah, you're healing 4 no matter what. Where in Mark II, it was just a D3. The one thing he lost on his feat turn, though, is 1 damage die against.
Yeah, that portion of the feat became Ragnar's feat.
Yeah, it's Ragnar's feat now. So Ragnar got the better half, I think.
Well,
overall.
Ragnar's feat doesn't specify battle group either, so it's a bit of a weird evaluation.
Army. So, but Doomshaper3 is still a pretty good caster. He also has a pig, who's kept all 3 of his mini feats, as people call them. So
they're all really good.
they are really good. So this list is pretty straightforward. I go up and take off a lot of heavies off the table with my big beast. Like I set up. I don't have extra movement, so it's pretty station.
I mean, on the other hand, like both of those heavies have really good guns that reach out really deep.
For sure. Like the threat range is big.
Yeah.
Either way you look at it. Shooting or running. The fire eaters are there just because I brought the pyro.
Mm-hmm.
And if the fire eaters are on fire, they're pretty good. They extra die on damage and attack. Also, if I want to pop the mini feat, I can also pop, again, extra 4th die to a hit. So that's 4 dice to hit. Usually it's uncalled for, but it's there, just in case. Alten Ashley's there just because it's almost like an auto-include in any of my hordes list. I feel like he is really good. And he's just the grievous wounds and D3+3 to a column, and then POW 12, and then reposition stealth. Like it's great.
Range 14, defense 14, armor 14.
16 inch or 20 inch threat range. Like you can't hide. Stealth, like it's really good. The stones are there to get the +1 strength in this matchup because you don't have any continuous effects across the board. Other than that, it's gonna be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, Alten Ashley is priority number 1 for me to kill in this particular matchup, in case anyone was unclear about that. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the game itself.
During the dice roll, I won the dice roll. I picked side, so Tim gets to go first. I picked side because I figure the side Tim's on will be a little harder for me to move all my stuff up. I figure I'll be more slanted towards one side of the table if I chose that side.
Yeah, that house dictates a lot of the play here. This is also incursion if you missed it. So that's dominate or control a flag for 1 point. Activate Kaya first. She spent 5 fury to cast Shadow Pack and to put Forced Evolution out. She charged up, so she's got speed 7 plus 3 inches of movement for charging. She gets up 10 inches, which actually put a couple of war beasts in my battle group out of control area, which you'll see in a second. That's a bit of a mistake, but I like having Kaya really, really far up early. That Feral ran up and warped armor. Ferals have a lot of flexibility. I love that just that warping armor protects them from a lot of early gun-type damage. Pureblood here warps Ghostly so it can get into that forest. It's got Forced Evo and Concealment, so I feel pretty good about its defensive stats right now. Sorry, John, were you going to say something?
I was just saying, like, your speed on your Feral.
On the Feral?
On the Feral. Is regular base 5?
6.
Base 6, so we can go up
base
to 8
6 can
if
go
it
up to
warps
speed 8.
it.
Yeah.
And what's a POW if you don't warp? Because if you get warp
he has
speed, you can't
3 initial
warp.
attacks, all at mat 7. So it becomes POW 15, 15, and 14 if he doesn't warp strength. Forced Evo can make that, 17, 17, 15, or 17, 17, 16. Or, Primal 2 can make that 19, 19,
So what's
18?
His base armor is?
Base armor is 16.
So when you warp it goes up 2 or
It goes
3?
to 18.
It goes
Yep.
to 18.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have quite a few choices you got to do when you decide to go for the alpha.
Yeah, he's in a really interesting place. He's a very, very flexible war beast, but he feels like he's kind of 1 stat lower in all of the places in exchange for being able to be 1 stat higher than he should be in all the places. Just sorry to talk a little bit about the movement. I stick Laris and Lanyssa behind the forest. I actually think I give John a shot with Alten Ashley and Lanyssa here, which is a huge mistake. I could have probably put her in the forest, but I was afraid she was too close to Fire Eaters. That's the kind of thing you should pre-measure, and I just got sloppy and didn't. I moved the Pureblood Warpwolf on the other flank up to be in position to run to the flag, and then I moved all 3 mannequins in both units to contesting zone of their respective flags, and I got 2 Fury on each of them for Wellspring, which is pretty nice. Ghetorix just ran up here. I also, as I said, I had him out of control area, so I had to walk the Druid Wilder over to make use of herding, so the Ghetorix could run back into control. And got my Gobber chefs on each flank. My thoughts with this kind of opening is I need to protect myself from the potential of that crazy GK assassination. I don't want him to just rip a heavy off the table for nothing, so I have to cast Shadow Pack. I want to get Forced Evo out early, and then I'm trying to position aggressively to force John to move up his pieces so that I can maybe kind of get a good alpha strike on him. And if he doesn't, I can pressure the scenario. Kaya is not an amazing scenario caster. I feel like often she gives up a couple of scenario points to be as powerful and as aggressive as she is. But in this particular case, I'm thinking maybe I can make a play for it.
Yeah, so, yeah, Shadow Pact definitely takes away from me shooting any of your beasts. It's even Alten Ashley can't take any shots. So, like, it's kind of like, okay, so I can't really shoot any beasts up the table, so what's my plan here? So you've seen doing some pre-measuring with my Fire Eaters to see if their your Feral was in range of their Spray 6 Assault. And they were.
Yep.
So then this is what the Pyro is for. Pyro walks up behind a Fire Eater, make sure it's not in the back arc, because I don't want to hit.
Yep.
Because I can actually do damage. Where I walk up, no more than an inch away, it can't deviate any farther, and half POW is 6, and it can't do any damage to armor 18.
Yeah, I actually genuinely think the Fire Eaters are amazingly good, but almost unplayably bad without the Pyre Troll. Like, I think he really just makes them possible.
In Mark 2, I fooled around a few times trying to just take no Pyro and take 2 units of Fire Eaters and have the pig light the big guys on, and hopefully they don't die.
Yep.
It works sometimes. So, as you see, all 3 of my Fire Eaters gonna fire. They get boosted attack rolls. Defense is
14.
14.
But it turns out,
That's 6, so I need 8.
And 8s are pretty reliable on 3 dice. You hit every single time here.
POW 12s.
And, I mean, even at dice minus 6, you...
Well, 3 dice.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, you should do about 15 damage, and you end up doing almost 20, which isn't a huge
I think
spike.
I do 18 damage.
Something like that, very, very close, which is pretty close to what they should do. And, I mean, that's 2/3 of a Feral. That's
Took a Spirit out.
really relevant.
So, it's a 9-point unit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could imagine the Pyre is part of that package a little bit, but you've basically crippled a Feral, which is... I'm not totally sure if I made a mistake moving the Feral up that much, or if I just kind of have to weather this at some point. It's tough to know for sure, but I'm glad the Feral's still alive, because I really need that Primal Animus in this matchup. And of all my beasts, he's the most capable of weathering a hit like this, who could run on the first turn. Like, Ghetorix could trample on the first turn and cast Spiny Growth to be armor 19, but I don't think I can put Ghetorix in a position to force you to expose those Fire Eaters.
So now I'm thinking, if I run up on any table, his threat range is pretty big on the far side of the table, like 15 inches, I think. Like, it's hard to determine because he has so much stuff that can add to it. So I can't even think about where I can be or what I can do. So I now have to think, is it a feat turn? And
right.
in Mark 2, it was usually a feat turn if I went second or I went first. Like, when I went first, I usually didn't feat. When I went second, I usually almost always feat. Ran my guys up, I feated. It's a little different now because I have to think about they don't lose a damage die. So now I'm thinking D3 plus 3, how much will that actually affect his feat turn?
Theoretically, the difference between losing a damage die and D3 plus 3 in a context where I have no way to apply Grievous Wounds, which I don't have any Grievous Wounds in this list, is very similar. And I didn't really maybe think about that enough when I was playing. Well, I mean, my next turn, we'll see how things play out, but... It's more damage reduction than you might expect.
Yeah,
like,
so
it's not as big a nerf as a lot of people thought it would have been.
So I definitely ran Mountain King up. He's going to be my farthest beast up the table.
Yep.
It is a feat. I put the token down. At this point, he can get 3 war beasts on him. He can probably get 3 war beasts on him. Not a problem, I'm thinking. So I'm like, okay, I'll feat, see what happens. Skullbearer walked up. Skullbearer was behind Doomy. He cast enemy spells cost double this turn. Such good. Doomy cast Admission on himself. 4 in the stone and camp 1. I figured better keep camping 1. I've learned from a few times where you don't camp any, that assassination usually comes.
Yeah.
So I kept 1. Now I'm just pre-measuring, make sure I do everything right here. The stones have to move first. So that proxy base up there is for my GK. It's going to trample that way because it's going to trample and cast its Animus. Because he can't. I figured that if I have his Animus up and he can't kill my GK, he's not going to come close. So it protects my GK from any jamming.
Plus, I mean, you don't get much further with running here because of the placement of that wall.
Yeah.
Like you could run and get 2 inches a little bit further over, but I think you're right. The Animus is probably a better call. It's also really convenient in this version of the game that you can just throw down that proxy base and leave it there while you reposition all the rest of your stuff, so you don't kind of screw yourself out of it. That's a component to pre-measuring, and it's completely encouraged.
It's really nice. Like I use it daily when I play. Like whenever I play, it's on the table where I'm pre-measuring. I have proxy bases out there.
It removes a lot of disagreement too, which I like, especially as an adjudicator of events. Like when people just get to say, "Yep, nope, that's clear," and it was made clear from the beginning. So here's that Alten Ashley walks up and gets to shoot Lanyssa moment where I'm just like, "Oh damn, I guess I just die here." Like, he needs a 7 to hit, so it's a 50-50, and fortunately for me, he misses. But
the 5.
That's a better lucky than good moment for me right there because I sure made that mistake.
I know for a fact this turn I'm going to lose Alten Ashley. I knew it was a big target, but also the support piece I shot at was a big target for Tim. Yeah,
I think Alten Ashley in this particular matchup is a 5-point solo who's worth less than Lanyssa Ryssyl, who's a 3-point solo.
Shadow Pack adds to that. Like when I can't shoot your War Beast at all, like then she can't apply Grievous Wounds and do the extra damage. So I could shoot the mannequins off the table, but you bring a mannequin back each turn. So there's almost no point shooting them. So I'm like, okay, if I can get a shot at the support piece, let's go for it. And
absolutely.
I went for it. And
a perfectly acceptable trade.
50-50. Well, it didn't go my way this turn.
So I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I think, so at the beginning of this turn, I do the math, and I decide that with Forced Evolution and Primal and Warping Strength, with a dog pile to get over the wall for Pathfinder, Ghetorix can probably do some real damage to the Mountain King. And like that's the math I do in my head, and I'm thinking like he doesn't have an extra die, and otherwise he's basically Doomy 3's feet from Mark II, and I played against that a bunch, so that feels like good math. I don't actually do the math, I just do the that feels like good math experience in my mind. So I upkeep Forced Evolution for free, send the Pureblood in, who abysmally flubs everything. The Pureblood misses all of its initial attacks with the spray, boosting both of the sprays against the other 2 models. One of them passed a tough check. The other one didn't take enough damage. It took 2 points of damage. And then his charge target, he missed 3 consecutive attacks, which is crazy, especially because with Forced Evolution, every hit is an instant tough check. They get steady from being on fire. So even though the guys passed a tough check, I'll still have to make subsequent tough checks with them. I consider for a moment sort of the backup plan of feeding this turn. I won't get the Pureblood back, but I wanted to activate him first anyway so that I could make use of Forced Evolution twice in this turn. So instead of feeding, I decide I'm going to commit just Ghetorix. Can I use it to initiate the peace trade and make some smart plays? And Kaya spends 1 to heal the feral spirit, who then gets to move back, forced to regenerate, and put Primal on Ghetorix. And he does all of that by warping speed to get that 8 inches back here. So as I said, he's a beast with a lot of flexibility. Now, here's the fun part of that math. Because I had to heal him for 1, I don't get to put Forced Evolution on Ghetorix. So instead, I just put Dogpile on the Mountain King to get across the wall with Ghetorix. And I put Shadow Pack up on Kaya because I have to. And I heal the Feral for 1. So this is one of those situations where you do math at the beginning of a turn that allow for a plan to handle a particular way, and then kind of it screws up later because you are still operating under faulty math. Here's a cute little piece of tech. The Gobber Chef, who has Backstab, walks up and backstabs a mannequin, and then I get to Wellspring a mannequin into play because I don't have 3. And then I generated a couple of Fury for it. Get all those guys into max command, and now they're in melee with Alten Ashley, and I'm going to boost to hit that little bad boy. Boost damage against him and just rip him off the table, because let me tell you, removing Alten Ashley is, as I said before, priority number 1. I got a couple sprays here, so I'm going to take them at stone models. I feel like whenever you can get hits against the stone unit, like even just possible incidental shots, removing models from that unit like slowly whittles down options. Against good players like John is here, you won't get the opportunity to remove the stone unit early, but every opportunity you can, take pieces away from it. Like just sort of chew it down a little bit so the sack pawn is less available later.
Yeah, so like my stone unit, whenever I play against people, they usually never take those extra shots at the stone unit. I have an extra POW 5 or POW 10, something, POW 10 gun to shoot. They don't take it because, it's dice off 5. What's the point? And I'm like, okay, well, my stones are there. You take it out, my aura shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. And
a lot of people think about it in terms of like, I'm not removing the aura, so what's the point in prioritizing the stone? But I feel like you just have to chip away at it every turn. I mean, it's an appropriate metaphor because it's a lot like an actual stone. You got to carve away at it for a while. So this unit of mannequins moves up. Again, the stone is just behind the house, so you can't quite see. They're all in max command. They get a couple sprays on the fire eaters. And, I mean, this is a testament to how great mannequins are because, like, my pureblood completely flubs on these fire eaters, and then two mannequins just wipe the unit. Because, once again, mannequins are amazing. Like, this turn, I'm pretty sure mannequins do more work than multiple heavies.
Killed Alten Ashley.
Killed Alten Ashley and
3 fire eaters and 1 stone.
And 1 member of the stone unit. Like, that's
so far, and that's 3 activations.
Folks, that's 10 points of models.
And kills 15 points of models.
I mean, that's pretty exciting. So this is the Ghetorix play that I talked to you about before. So he charges for free, hits on his charge, power strength 21, not 23. So I'm actually dice even. I do something like 7 points of damage.
You did 7. I healed 4. You're like, oh wait, you gotta do 1 more. So I healed 4.
Yep. Yeah, because it's minimum 4, and you
so,
roll the minimum on it.
And then you realize at this time it wasn't worth continuing the attacks because you couldn't do 54 boxes.
I mean, just no chance I'm going to do 54 boxes. I'm giving John free whelps. Even my second initial attack, I'm just going to give you those boxes back that I took. So I spend the double cost, and I cast Spiny Growth on Ghetorix. This is a mistake. I mean, I alluded to this at the top of the turn, but I'm doing math incorrectly. Like, I'm doing math based on forced evolution before realizing that I couldn't do it because I had to heal this feral. Speaking of healing the feral, the Wilder comes up. Medicate is base to base now. So she medicates the feral and gets a couple more boxes off of him. My goal with the feral this turn was to be able to cast Primal and also to be able to force to regenerate and to be able to like be in that position to seriously recover a bit. Sorry, the mistake there was I started to move the Gobber to the flag who actually activated to backstab the mannequin, but then I ran the other Gobber over to touch the flag. I don't get to score this turn because this is first player's second turn, but I want to be in a position to threaten to score if John doesn't move pieces over there to commit.
It's tough. Like you're in position to score on 2 flags already, and I have 2 war beasts in the middle of the table. I can run my GK up to the top of the table. And I figured that he would take some shots, but then that's it. That's his activation. Where I'm looking at this table, I'm looking at like, okay, I got 2 war beasts in front of me. I think my GK can kill 1 and my Mountain King can kill 1. And then the threat of losing my war beast to your alpha is
vastly diminished.
It's not there. Like, I really think it's not there. Like, that's what I'm thinking right now. I'm like, okay, so do I give up the 1 point in the top of the table, contest the bottom in the middle, give you 1, give you 2 in your turn, and then play from scenario from there. Because if you're down 2 heavy war beasts, I think I'm in good position. Yeah,
the move this turn is obviously to kill 2 heavies, and I think you're in a pretty reasonable position to do so. I mean, the thing about this list is basically it's a bunch of heavies that Kaya wants to yo-yo back, and what I've done is I've stuck my second most important heavy and one of my tertiary heavies, while my most important heavy is really wounded and in the back licking its wounds. So I'm in a pretty rough spot here. I think it's fair to admit.
The problem with this, when I have to choose, I'm measuring for a whelp right now. There's a whelp behind the Mountain King. I'm measuring to see if he can run the contest, and in the end it can't. So the problem with this is I'm at 6, and your defense on your
the
pureblood is 16 at the point right now.
Yeah.
So I need 10s. So if I charge hit, it's 1 fury to charge, 1 fury to boost. So if I don't hit that, it's gonna be tough for me. I feel like I'm gonna have to buy, and then I have to pay for another attack.
Well, you get your second initial, but you have to
boost that one as well.
So now you're on 3 fury
already, and I'm like, oh, can I 3-shot him? Because if I hit you, you're stationary.
Yeah.
Which is all I need, because it's your defense, which is a problem. So I'm thinking that in my head now. I'm like, okay, do I do that, or do I clear up my Mountain King, so my Mountain King can just press forward and spray 10. I was thinking my Mountain King can walk up, pass your pureblood, and spray 10 down the line and get all your support pieces in the back.
Kill the Wilder, kill Lanyssa, that kind of thing.
Yeah, do a lot of damage to Laris as well, because Laris is what? Armor 16?
Armor 14.
And so it's POW 16.
Yep.
I can easily boost that, right? So that's...
So, yeah, that's the plan where if the GK comes in and kills Ghetorix, then you can walk up.
Yeah, that was my other plan I was thinking through my head.
I mean, that's also pretty reasonable. I mean, I feel like the kill 2 heavies plan is pretty strong here.
Just the problem, like, it's a 50-50 chance to hit. 3 dice to hit 10, it's average.
Yeah. And I mean, part of the biggest trouble we run into is, you commit a Colossal, which is a huge activation.
Yeah, it's like my army. It's half my army.
Yeah.
It really is.
I mean, it's multiple coin tosses, but it still feels like a coin toss. And the odds of you killing both heavies increase enormously if you get that initial hit.
Yeah, for sure. Like, the one in front of my Mountain King, I know for sure my Mountain King can kill by himself.
Yeah, I mean, Ghetorix has spiny growth, but the problem is armor 19 against, I presume Rage.
Well,
and the Stone Aura.
So what I'm thinking is my Stone goes first, pop the Aura. Yep. So that's now POW 20 on both of them. Doomy activates. I think Doomy, my plan was all the bonus, so like free animuses from the unit.
Yep, that's especially good because now the Mountain King can animus itself without costing Doomy.
So that's POW 23.
Yep, and
so
if Doomshaper puts Rage on the Glacier King, he has Rage.
POW 23 as well.
And then he can put Chiller on himself after he's done.
So I'm thinking, like, that's my plan. Like, that's it. I got my base out there. I'm like, okay, I got to do this. Now I'm debating if my Glacier King wants to kill him. Do I want my Glacier King in melee with the other one as well, just in case I can, if I miss, then do I just sacrifice and go back to my second plan, which was move my Mountain King up and spray. So I'm going back and forth. Like, it's a lot of thinking because it's like a Colossal. If I miss this, it's like there's his activation. That's 35 points because the GK is only 35.
The flip side, though, is if you hit that Pureblood and you crit him,
game turns.
You kill him in maybe your initials.
I don't need a crit.
Or sorry, if you hit him at all,
yeah.
You kill him with your initials, and then you've got lots of attacks to kill Ghetorix. So, I mean, right now the thing you can't see, the reason there's a bit of space between that base and where the Mountain King is there's a whelp right there, directly behind the Mountain King, that John's just sort of trying to find a lane to fit with. He's deciding if he has to activate the whelp first. So I think at this point you go with Doomshaper, who has 6 Fury after upkeeping Admonition.
Yep.
Admonition's a really good spell because it just prevents a lot of the scary assassinations.
And I played against Laris before, and I played against him, and that assassination is possible. If Laris gets within inches, I'm moving Doomy away. Like, it's just, that's what's happening. Like, it's not going to be a choice anymore. He's moving away. So yeah, Doomy didn't even move because it's not a kill box. I don't have to move.
I think you moved such that you were back in the trench, like just so you could avoid a dog pile.
Yeah, nothing huge. Yeah. So once again, he mini-feeded for free animi.
Yep, that's the move,
he put Rage on the GK.
Yep.
So my plan here is to kill both heavies. Like, I'm committed now.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
You put a couple of Fury on the Stone too, right?
Yeah. I put 2 Fury on the Stone, Camp 2. I also thought about repudiating Spiny Growth or repudiating Force Evolution. That was in my head. Mm-hmm. But defense 16, cost 2, got to boost it. And I'm like, then I'm up in the open if I miss this. So I went for the safer plan.
I think this is definitely the safer plan.
Higher odds of failing, though, because of your defense.
Part of the problem is you can't repudiate Forced Evolution very easily because you need to be within 5 inches because of Shadow Pack. And then you can get within 5 inches of Ghetorix, no problem, but he's engaged in melee, so you probably don't get into melee with him, which means you are dealing with Def 18.
Which I need 10s.
And I mean,
or 11s.
If you did your other scroll to give warrior models an additional die drop lowest, then you boost. I mean, that's a pretty good odds, but now you don't get your free animuses, and I think this is the strongest plan. I think it was worth putting some thought into the options, but this is the one that I like the most. So this is the boosted charge attack against the Pureblood, which he misses. Second initial boosts and also misses the
same
Pureblood.
Target. So now I'm thinking I need to scrap the plan. I need to switch because I don't think I can 3-shot your claw. I don't think I got 3-shot.
Well, at this point you have to buy and boost an attack.
Yeah. So then
Yeah. So you go with the safe play of buy boost and not crit stationary, just hit and stationary Ghetorix. With Ghetorix, you don't need the 10 to hit, you only need an 8 to hit, and a boosted 8 is really reliable, which you of course get.
A 10.
Yeah. So you put a little marker there to indicate stationary.
Dice plus 3.
Yep, that's true. Ghetorix does a takes a truckload of damage here, and then Spiny Growth does a tiny bit of damage to the Glacier King, which we don't catch right away. We come back to that.
So
in a
I
moment.
took off Rage, and he cast his Frozen Ground for free.
Yep.
So enemy models that end their activation within 3 inches are knocked down.
Yeah, sorry, I said Chiller, but it is Frozen Ground, and that's really powerful. Also, the Mountain King gets to move up here and contest the flag, which was, I think, a really important part of this game plan.
Yeah, I couldn't let you score 2 this turn. There's no way. If you score 2 and then I'm way behind, even if I kill 2 Orbeez, I'm way behind in this scenario.
Yeah, you're quite happy ceding 1 point, but 2 points would have been a big problem.
So I auto hit. It's dice +3. I have 7 attacks.
This is not going to go well. So again, because of the scroll, he casts Rage for free.
So he's POW 22 and then 1 from the stone, which makes it 23.
Yep. And Ghetorix is armor 19, so dice +4.
Dice +4.
Yeah. So Ghetorix takes
a lot.
And you roll, I mean, well, not great, but well enough that I think you only take 2 Spiny Growth hits.
It took 3 hits to kill him.
Yep.
That's after 1 hit from the GK as well. Dice +4.
That's true. I mean, Ghetorix is he's an expensive heavy with lots of boxes, but
so 5 attacks from the 2 of them to kill him.
Yeah.
That means I was on 0 Fury. So kill shot.
Yep. So you're debating: do you kill shot Lanyssa Ryssyl? Do you kill shot the stone? The stone removes all the mannequins, which is strong, and they can be annoying. But I think at this point you're concerned about losing your colossals. So Lanyssa Ryssyl maybe is the right play.
I thought of because your 1 War Beast is at the very back there. I figured that you need both.
I do. I probably need Hunter's Mark,
and Dogpile to get him to me. So I went for Nissa Whistle. Nissa Whistle.
Yeah. You shoot Lanyssa Ryssyl, and you do miss her. She's been lucky all game. She's a dodgy elf this game.
So then I just buy some attacks and kill some mannequins around me.
Yeah.
I mean, 2. I don't kill the second one.
You don't
and
kill the second
reason
one?
I didn't kill the second one because I didn't want you to bring it back and put it farther ahead behind my Mountain King. So it has to. It's engaged.
I can only bring 1 back a turn though. So.
Yeah, it's engaged right now, so you can't spray.
It's true. I can't
So
spray.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just leave him there because if he wants to spray, he has to either take a free strike or kill my Mountain King.
Fair.
And I figured my Mountain King would be safe right now. I'm like, okay, cool. I know you have your feet turn. It's still there, but I've taken off 1 heavy. I am scared of my GK. I thought I was going to lose my GK this turn because you got 3 heavies possibly they can get on him.
Yep.
My Pyro took some shots at the mannequins. Boosted hit. Hit them both. And boosted damage.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they had to shoot the Fire Eaters, they clumped up quite a bit, so your AoE 3 killed both of them.
I am debating here to rile my Pyro or not, because I have 2 on the GK and I have 2 on my Pyro right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 on my Mountain King and 2 on my Pyro. And I have, I have 2 on myself. So that's 6. So if I rile him, if my GK is dead, I don't take the Fury, I take the 5 off the other 2.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, cool.
And you're expecting, I think, at this point to probably lose the GK, but that's not a terrible trade because then probably the Mountain King kills
whoever kills the GK.
Yeah.
But also your feet's still there. So I knew you might teleport everything back then that's where I catch up on the scenario. If you teleport everything back and leave the table free, I catch up in the scenario with the 2 flags in the middle.
Mm-hmm. So at this point I've got 1 control point and I'm in position to go to 2 control points. And I'm looking at the situation here, and I'm pretty sure John is winning the attrition battle. So I'm going to make a play for scenario. It's a bit of a risky play, but I've got a couple of options available to me. One of them is the way that Kaya's feet interacts with the Frozen Ground ability is both of them are effects that trigger at the end of an activation. So as the active player, I get to resolve that effect first. So I can feet
yeah,
and have my beasts get pulled back before they get knocked down,
which is something I did not know. You learn something every day even still playing this game. It's almost a year now and I'm learning that so you get to teleport your guys back before they get knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him do you knock down and then get teleported back because the teleport's a place effect? And he's like, no, I get to choose which one goes first. And I'm just like, well, that just happened.
I mean, even if they're halfway across the board and knocked down, it's still a better position to be in than, knocked down right next to a GK.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing here is I'm trying to see if I can get a creative vector on a Doppler bark. The Wild Argus Doppler Bark prevents... I mean, most of the time I use it for dropping defense to 5, but it also prevents living models from slamming or charging or trampling. And for the Glacier King, that's a really big threat extender. So I'm trying to see right now if I can jam John up. I mean, it's a bit risky, but I want to see if I can do it.
Yeah, the Doppler Bark is such a good Animus now. I feel like from Arc 2, their old Animus was...
Oh, the Wild Argus was not spectacular at all.
I don't
and
think
had
anyone
very,
knows
very
what it
niche
is, right?
use.
Like, does anyone know what the Animus was?
Yeah, it had Circular Vision and Pathfinder. It's called Tracker.
Okay.
But now it just has both of those abilities.
and
it also got this amazing Animus. It lost its ranged attack, which is fine.
Well, you run up, you bark, or you charge up and you bark.
Yep, exactly.
And that's basically what happens. Like, your
so
defense is 5.
Kaya here, she moves over, puts her feet up. She uses the Channeler ability through Laris to put Primal on the Forced Evolution Pureblood. She did upkeep Dogpile. I mismanaged my Fury for a second there, but you can see I'm on 1 Fury. And she did put Primal on the Feral as well.
So this War Beast I did not kill, I did not stationary, is doing a lot of damage to my Mountain King.
Yeah, John is a little bit surprised here because I go in and I advance into melee with the Mountain King. And he's like, why are you doing that? That seems really bizarre. And to his credit, it kind of is. I probably should have charged the Mountain King because then I would have gotten a free charge from Dogpile and I would have gotten like boosted damage for nothing. But I don't. And I do really respectable damage. The thing is, Purebloods are power strength 14. However, Primal takes them to 16, Forced Evolution takes them to 18, and Warping Strength takes them to 20.
So it's dice off 1.
Dice minus 1, and I have 6 attacks.
Yeah, so I got 5 whelps on the table. That's all I have so far. I definitely need to paint more.
Yep.
I think 10 whelps is the key to bring. I would have technically 8 whelps on the table right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the issue. We try to play painted on the stream, and John just didn't quite have the opportunity to paint some of his whelps. I'm not sure it made a
I don't think it would have made a difference, but like
here.
just future, make sure I have more whelps on the table. They're
Yep.
pretty good. They contest. They
Yeah.
contest zones and
I mean, I made 6 attacks on you right now, so you should have
6 whelps.
6 whelps.
Yeah.
And you have 5. So you're down 1 whelp right now.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm charging with the Wild Argus. He's charging the Glacier King, so he has to force, and then he does that Doppler Bark. I hit with my combo strike attack. I do a couple of points of damage because he's actually power strength 16 if he combos, and then once again I get teleported back to Kaya.
So he did 8 damage.
Yeah, he's pretty respectable. I mean, dice minus 4, rolling a 12 is a little above average, but not unbelievably so. And then Lanyssa Ryssyl, who's not quite in range to just walk over and also score the flag, throws her Hunter's Mark up. So now I've got Hunter's Mark and Dogpile for plus 4 inches of charge
So
distance.
here's where she survives 2 attacks, and now she gets to put Hunter's Mark up, and
Yep.
now your War Beast gets on my Mountain King.
Yep.
Like, this is what I was afraid of. Like,
This is absolutely fair.
I'm like, my GK should be dead, but my Mountain King's dying.
So one of the things you may have missed there, I mean, the Feral can see through the forest for a Colossal anyway, but he also gets to ignore the forest because of Dogpile, which was an upkeep, so I upkept it. And he also gets Pathfinder on those charges.
So you warp for strength.
Yeah, so I warp for strength. I don't need the speed. I warp for strength. I've got Primal. So now I'm hitting at POW strength 19. And POW strength 19
That's off too.
really respectable. In my 3 initials, I managed to finish you off, and then I use a couple of attacks to kill some whelps nearby. I mean, this is... I probably could have afforded to put more damage, given the way that I rolled my dice into the Glacier King with that Pureblood, but I don't have to. I mean, I'm playing a really safe bet here with that Feral.
So a mistake here that Tim caught later on, he forgot to teleport his War Beast back.
Yeah, I probably should have teleported that Feral back. I mean, he's not in a terrible situation, but I've kind of left him up here for not a really good reason.
He's going to Primal. You have 2 War Beasts going to Primal next turn.
Yeah, he's going to Frenzy, but I mean...
Frenzy.
He's going to Frenzy into probably... I mean, it depends. You might come try to kill him, in which case he Frenzies into your guy, or you kill him, or he Frenzies into a mannequin, and that's fine. It's just I could have put him behind Kaya facing the wrong way, and then he Frenzies into nothing. Or I could have put him... I had that option and I didn't use it, and I do regret that slightly. So, but here's another example of mannequins just getting an enormous amount of work done.
Kill some stones.
I get to
those
kill
stones.
some stones. I get to spray some whelps. I get to boost an irregularly large number of times. I put a couple points of damage into the Elder. Like, mannequins are insane.
So, this wasn't... I didn't see this coming. I did not see my Mountain King dying because I honestly think my GK is more of a threat on the table. I really think the GK is a huge threat over the Mountain King. Like 3 boosted, POW 14 guns, crit stationary, crit knockdown, or crit stationary, crit knockdown, sorry, on their gun.
Yep.
Stationary fist. So if he hits, he's going to hit all of his attacks. If he knocks you down, he's going to hit all of his attacks.
Yep.
And I thought Tim would take him off the table more because I feel like he gives me a more of assassination run or more of assassination.
The fact that I could
chance.
upkeep Dogpile on the Mountain King kind of dictated my play a little bit. I also wanted to be in a position to score on both flags. Like, as I said, this was really a turn where I wanted to pressure that scenario.
And
so I put a Gobber Chef next to Lanyssa Ryssyl on the bottom flag.
Yep.
And then this Pureblood here moves up, sprays the Whelp, because, again, I want to take all the things that John can contest with away as much as possible. And he, boosts to hit, kills the Whelp that the mannequins didn't manage to wipe off. And he is now next to that flag. And John said, "Oh, do you want to teleport back?" And I said, "No, I want to score that flag with that Pureblood."
Yeah.
I have a Gobber Chef over there, but he's got another responsibility. He's going to run over and try to additionally jam that GK.
So now looking at the table, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I am in World of Hurt. You're going up to 3 points this turn.
Yeah.
I have to contest bottom flag. I have to contest top flag and keep something in the middle.
The problem is if you contest all but one of the flags and let me go to 4 points on your turn,
You
I
score
go to
5 on
points
your
on my
turn.
turn, and that's game.
So I have to either think, do I contest everything, put everything out there, and hopefully Tim doesn't kill the one thing I contest with, which is highly doubtly.
You also expected the Glacier King to die, not the Mountain King, and that means you have a Fury problem.
Yes. I have 5 Fury on my GK. I did not take the Fury from my Mountain King because I did not want to. When my Mountain King died, I'm like, okay, now I'm in a problem because if I take that Fury, I can't take the Fury off the GK. They're only threshold 6.
Yeah.
So they're friendly 90% of the time, no matter what. 95% of the time, no matter what. So what I did is, what I'm doing here, I'm measuring for the assassination range 12 guns. I'm like, if I take all the Fury off my GK, I look at it, this is my only chance now because I cannot contest all 3 flags.
The problem is if you take all of the Fury off the GK, which I think is probably the right play because you just can't afford to lose
My
that
Pyro
activation.
has to roll a 6 or lower on a threshold check.
And that's the other reason the Gobber Chef ran over there is because now you frenzy into the Gobber Chef, which means you're even like you're stuck there. You don't end up frenzying into Laris or the Feral, which would have put you into position to contest another flag.
Yeah.
You're stuck contesting only the middle flag.
So I definitely take it off the GK. So I think if I don't do that, the game's over.
But here's the flip side. Because you took it off the GK, the Pyre Troll has 3 on him and cannot run to contest that flag.
Which is something I found out later on. I'm thinking to myself, oh, now he can't run. He passed his threshold check. He's max Fury. He can't run.
So because of the way your Fury was on the table and because of where the GK was placed, running that Gobber Chef right there, it might have seemed weird to score with the Pureblood instead of keeping him enormously safe and score with the Gobber Chef, but that Gobber Chef right now, if you frenzy that GK, you don't contest a second flag. If he wasn't there, you would charge the Pureblood and be in range to contest both flags there.
I can't charge with Doppler Bark.
Right. Of course you can't charge.
So now I had to walk 5, which would bulldoze you 2 inches, and I still wouldn't be in contesting of that fire flag.
No, exactly.
So, I am in a pickle.
Well, and the thing is, if you were in a position to not frenzy and have a Fury left on the Pyre, you'd be able to run the Pyre to contest the one flag and then maybe get the GK into range of contesting both. I don't think quite.
I still think wouldn't be the plan here because my Pyro will easily die, and you'll easily have something that can run over that flag and dominate or control it, and then you'll go to 5 either way.
It's definitely a rough situation. I think the right move and the move that you're jumping into right now is that assassination.
So I'm measuring the assassination. I'm just measuring everything that can get over there, and there's absolutely nothing that's within 14 inches of that flag.
Doomy's Pig Scroll guy can contest that flag because he's not a Warlock, but he's not within 14 inches.
And he has state information, which means Doomy has to run over there too, which means then Doomy can't do anything. So the play was, no point activating anything else here. Let's go for the Hail Mary assassination. And it's not a high percentage. It's pretty low.
The problem with this assassination is that Kaya is exactly 9 inches away from the spot the GK can walk to. So if he pushes me 3 inches in the first 2 shots, he gets a third shot. If he pushes me more than 3 inches in the first 2 shots, total, then he doesn't get a third shot.
But also your defense is what? 16?
Def 16.
So I boost it. I'm hoping for a crit.
Well, I'm Def 16. You have to boost anyway. I mean,
so I crit.
You crit, but push me 2
2
inches.
Boost
So
the
that's-
damage.
Yep, boosted damage.
'Cause
She's
now you're
only
knocked
she's
down.
dice even. I
you're
have
knocked
one
down now.
transfer, but it's dice even.
I think I do 9 damage. You take it.
9 damage. So I have 7 boxes left.
Second hit hits you. I push you
Me?
3
But
inches.
you push me 3 inches.
And at this point, I know I'm like, I cannot kill you in one shot. Well, because you have 1 transfer.
You do 12 damage here, but I transfer it, and I send it to the Argus, who takes 12 damage.
And that right there was the assassination attempt. It was low. I had a crit on 3 dice the first shot. Boost damage. Not push you more than 3 inches in 2 shots, which is another chance. Percentage is like low, 22% or something like that. It's like my assassination attempt was low teen, like low, like maybe 12%, maybe
Less
11%. Like it was a low shot, but it worked. Like it could be there.
Yep. I mean, when it's the only thing you're left with, you take whatever odds you have.
So Tim,
So, at this
past
point-
my turn, Tim scores 1. On
Yep.
his turn, he scores 1, and that's game wins in the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great game. I never felt I was out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though when I missed the one dog, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, my GK is going to die. Like I was set, my GK is going to die. My Mountain King's still around. I can still bring this back. But when he took my Mountain King out, I felt like, okay, there goes my big threat at the bottom of the table. My GK is in the middle. Now I'm going to have Fury management problems, and it just kind of went, okay, I need to go for this. And I think I've done it before. I've killed Haley too on an assassination attempt. So like it happens.
And Kaya has basically the same stat line as Haley. She doesn't have D-cell. She does have Shadow Pack, but I couldn't cast
You
it.
weren't defense 18.
No,
You were defense 16.
Exactly.
So like it was a possibility. I went for it, and you need to go for them. Like if you think you can do it, go for it. And if it's your only chance, well,
Especially because we knew. Like, we'd done the math. This was the thing. This was the only play.
yeah, there was no. Doesn't matter what I could test with, you would kill it, and then you would score. And then my turn, I throw something else over there, you kill it. The game would be another 15 minutes long, but you wouldn't win. You would win on scenario in the end.
Yeah. Anyway, really awesome game, John. It was super tight. I feel like, there were mistakes made on both sides. We both capitalized really well on those mistakes.
Yes.
And I felt like the thing that, if anything, won me this game was switching tactics really dramatically. I think I had to. I switched from attrition to scenario.
Well, when
'Cause
you
I was
stop
losing.
attacking my Mountain King there, I'm like, okay, what is he doing? And then he just goes, I'm going to Spine and Grow for 4. I'm like, okay. So you're going to give me 2 heavies. If I killed both those heavies there, the game would have definitely switched a little bit in my favor.
It's possible that the Feral could have killed the Mountain King. I mean, he had 4 attacks left. Now, I know that the Pureblood did a lot of damage to him, but I mean, maybe I get a forced evolution on the Feral, and then he's, instead of being dice -1, he's dice +1 with 4 more attacks in the free charge. I don't know. It would have been a different game for sure. I mean, there would have been interesting things going on there.
Well, thank you for watching. This is John.
Yep. And, if you have any questions or there's a specific matchup you want to see, send us an email. Let us know about it. You can email arcaneassistpodcast@gmail.com. Leave a comment below. Subscribe. All those kind of things. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at TEnchanter. Or John on Twitter. You're at
JRNAA.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks again, guys, and we'll be back next Monday. 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 We'll be